This video really is a combination of all of the conventional wisdom on YouTube as it pertains to playing bar chords, as well as putting in my own teaching experience. If you want the unconventional ways of playing bar chords, you can check out the video on your screen now. But if you think this video will be useful to you, stick around, let's do it. First thing you want to make sure you're doing when playing bar chords is you want this healthy drop in the wrist here. Notice how my wrist is dropped down. What you don't want is to clench your arm up like this, because this is going to interfere with you trying to play bar chords. You want your wrist to be dropped down, and what that's going to do is allow the finger to straighten out. You also don't want your arm flapping out to the side like this, okay? You want your arm tucked into the waist, and again, that's going to help straighten out this first finger. Please take note of the fact that we're at the 5th fret. It's easier to push your bar chords down because we're further away from the nut. And all of these tips to do with the first finger, they might not work for everybody. It really does depend on finger size, hand size, strength, etc. But the first thing you want to try is, instead of using the front of the finger, why don't you use the side of the finger, okay? Because the side of the finger is a little bit harder, and some people find it easier to use the side of the finger. The next thing you want to try is reaching over the top of the neck with this first finger. Now, my first finger naturally sits a little bit above the neck, but you might want to try reaching a bit further. And as you'll see, this kind of brings the wrist forward into even more of a drop position. Okay, and that might work for some people to help them push the chord down. The next thing to try is, with this first finger, curve the first finger. So instead of having a straight first finger like this, you might want to try curving it slightly like this. Now, what you'll find when you curve it is that you'll be able to get the low E, the B and the high E strings, but it doesn't matter that you're missing the A, D and G, because the other 3 fingers are taking care of that, okay? So this is getting the low E, the B and the high E, and this is getting the other remaining 3 strings. And the last thing to try here is just playing with the first finger only, the other fingers off. Can you make a bar? Is it strong enough to do that? And again, this is all just experimentation. And if you can't make it with 1, try making it with 2. Just see if you can make some form of progress towards playing your bar chords. Your thumb is especially important for bar chords because you're pushing against it from the fingers on the fretboard. You're essentially squeezing the neck when you make a bar chord. The thumb wants to be around the middle of the back of the neck, between the first and second fingers. I know you can't see them at this angle, but I'm pointing to my first finger, my second finger, and you see that my thumb is in the middle of those 2 fingers. And no matter where I go with a bar chord, A major bar chord, G major bar chord, F major bar chord, my thumb, relative to the other fingers, remains in approximately the same place. You don't want to see this kind of thing, you don't want to see this kind of thing, you don't want to see this kind of thing where the thumb's all over the place, okay? Definitely not this. I've seen this a couple of times, thumb underneath, and that really isn't very, very helpful. You want that thumb to remain in that same place at all times. There are some unconventional bar chord tips that hardly anyone is talking about, so if you're still struggling and you want to know what they are, check out the video on your screen now.